Welcome you all for video tutorial on C programming for problem solving. Okay, in the last session we discussed the basics of problem solving. Then we discussed the history of C programming language, then the basic structure of C programming. So C programming language was introduced during 1972 at Bell Laboratory by Dennis Ritchie. So the C program consists of 5 different sections. That is a basic structure. In that sections, some of the sections are optional and some of the sections are mandatory. So the first section of the C programming is the documentation section. In the documentation section, we give a description of the program, like name of the program, purpose of the program, or author of the program. The next section is the link section. In the link section, we include the library function, or we include header file. The definition section, in the definition section, we define a symbolic constant. So to define symbolic constant, we use a directive called as define. The next section is the global declaration section. In the global declaration section, we declare functions and variables. The variables which we declared in the global variable section, that can be accessed by other functions. The next section is the main section. The main section is a mandatory section because every program must contain at least one main function. At least one main function. So the execution of the program starts from open brace and end with the close bracket. The main section consists of 2 parts. One is declaration part, another one is a executable part. Declaration part contains the declaration of variables which we are using in the program that will be declared in the global declaration section. Next is the executable part. So the program must main function must contain at least one executable statement. Otherwise, the program will be in no use. So up to that we discussed in the last session. In this session, we are going to discuss character sets and tokens in C language. Okay, let's start discuss about character sets in C programming. So when we want to learn any new language, we need to know the characters of the language. Words means meaningful words, then the sentence, then the paragraph. So without knowing the character, we cannot define a word. Then without word, we cannot create a sentence, and without sentence, we cannot create a paragraph. So any language, you consider English language. If you want to learn English language, first you need to know the alphabets. Later we need to know the words and the meaning of the words. Then the combination of words will be produce a sentence. Then the sentence must be a meaningful sentence. Later the paragraph. So the combination or set of statement is called paragraph. So to learn any language, first we need to know the alphabets. Okay, steps 2. Let's consider the steps to learn English language. So the first step is know the alphabets. The first step in learning English language is knowing the alphabets, or learn the alphabets. Then words, sentences, paragraphs. So in order to learn English language, first we need to learn alphabets, letter, words. So words are the combination of alphabets. Then words must be a meaningful words. We need to know the meaning of each word. Then the collection of words is a sentence. The sentence is also a meaningful sentence. Then the collection of sentence is a paragraph. Okay, these are the steps we need to learn, we need to learn a new language or English language. Similarly, if you want to learn any new computer language, first we need to know what are the characters going to use in the language and what are the words we use in the programming must be know. Then the syntax rules, how we combine the words, then how we combine the paragraph. So first step of learning a new language is to know the characters which use for programming. So in order to learn C program, first we need to learn the character set. So to learn the C language, the first F is we need to learn character set. After knowing the character set, next step is we need to learn variables, constants, and keywords. Variables, constants and keywords. Okay, this is very much essential. We need to know the variables, how we can declare variables, that need to be known, and what are the constants used in C programming and what are the keywords available in the C program. So first we need to know the character set, followed by variables, constants and keywords. Next is the instructions. After knowing the variables, constants and paragraphs, next is a combination of variables, constants and keywords is the instruction. Next is the last is the program. Last is the program. So in order to learn a C programming language, first we need to know the character set, followed by variables, constants and keywords, then instructions, and finally program. So without character set we cannot write a program, means we cannot define variable, we cannot derive constant and keyword. So first is we need to know the character set, followed by variables, instructions and program. So here alphabets in English language, in program, C program, character set, words in English language, here we consider variables, constants and keywords. Sentence we call instruction, because instruction is a set of variables, constants and keywords are set of tokens. Then collection of sentence is called paragraph, but in program set of instructions is called program. Okay, this is the thing we need to know before learning new language or before learning new programming language. Okay, when we write a program, characters are important. So characters are used to define words and make a program. So in C language we use a different characters, different symbols and different special symbols we use for programming. So those are called character set. So in C program, character set are divided into 4 categories. Characters are divided into 4 categories. First one alphabets. The C program allows capital A to Z and small a to Z. Then it also allows one more additional character, that is underscore. Next is the second one is numbers. Numbers from 0 to 9. 0 to 9 numbers. Next, the third category is white spaces. White spaces are tab, space, enter. Space is horizontal space and vertical space, enter, etc. Then the fourth one is special characters such as plus, minus, star, division, modulus, less than, greater than, less than equal, greater than equal, and symbol R, cap, like that. etc. Okay, characters are used to define words. So words are grouped into sentence, and sentence is grouped into paragraph. So in C program, characters are used to build words, means tokens. So in C language, the character set is divided into 4 categories. First one is alphabets, second one is number, white space, and special characters. So alphabets is small a to z and capital A to z, and one more character is underscore character. Then numbers from 0 to 9. Then white space are tab, space, enter, etc. And the special characters are the operators are plus, minus, star, division, modulus, less than, equal to, ampersand, pipe symbol, cap symbol. Other characters are belong to special character set. So we use this alphabets, character, white space, and special characters to make program. Okay. The next topic is C token. So once we know the character set, the next important is the C token. So a token means it's a passage of text, word, or a punctuation mark. Collectively, this is called token. C tokens are classified into 6 categories. C tokens are classified into 6 categories. C token. The first category is the keywords. The second category is identifier. Identifiers. Constants. string, operators, special symbols. Okay, I already mentioned C tokens are the passage of text are basic unit of C program. The tokens in C language are classified into 6 categories. First category is keyword, second category is identifiers, third category is constant, strings, operators and the special symbols. Okay, these are the 6 different types of tokens. Okay, first we move on to keyword. Keywords are the words. It has a particular purpose, means it has a specific purpose. These keywords are in small letter. So all the keywords in C language are in small letter. So C language consists of total 32 keywords. Each keyword has its own purpose. Example, here float. A float is the keyword which we use for defining a real type data type. Then int is used for defining integer variable. Similarly, case is used in the switch statement. For and while is a loop control statement. So you observe all the keywords are in the small letter. So each keyword has its own purpose. So when we using the keywords, the name of if we change the character of the keyword, the meaning will be changed. Example, if in case F capital, if we make F as a capital, then it will be wrong. So keywords must be in the small letter. So C program consists of 32 characters. In the last session, I highlighted that one of the main feature of the C language is the keywords. So it consists of 32 keywords. The next is the identifiers. So identifiers are the name given to variable, arrays and functions. So identifiers are the names just given to variables, arrays and functions. So here when we are defining an identifier, we need to follow certain rules. When we defining a variables, we need to follow certain rules. The first rule, when we defining a identifier, the identifier must consist of identifier must consist of alphabets, numbers and underscore. Identifier must consist of alphabets, numbers and underscore character. So the identifier must start with character. The identifier name must start with the character or the underscore. So when we're defining the identifier, we are not supposed to use keyword as a identifier. We cannot use we cannot use keyword as a identifiers. Okay, that is the third rule. The next rule is the small letters is different than capital letter, because C identifiers are case sensitive. C identifiers are case sensitive. Example, capital sum is different than small sum. Okay, usually the length of the identifier must be less than 31 characters. Okay, the next rule is the keywords must be identifiers length must be less than 31 characters. Okay, these are the rules we need to follow when we defining the identifier. Okay, I'll repeat again. The identifier must consist of characters, numbers and underscore. Then identifiers must start with character or underscore. So the identifier must start with character or underscore. Next, we cannot use keyword as a identifier. We cannot use keywords as a identifier. The next one is the capital letters are different than small letters. Capital letters are different than small letter. Then the length of the identifier must be less than 31 characters. So these are the rules we need to follow when we defining the identifiers. Okay, the next is the constants. The next C token is the constants. The constant means that the name itself indicates the value of the constant will not change during the execution of the program. The constant means value will not change during the execution of the program. During the execution of the program. So constant means the value will not change during the execution of the program. So constants are mainly divided into two categories. Numeric constants numeric constant and character constant. Once again, the numeric constants is subcategorized into two categories. Subcategorized into two categories. One is integer constants and real constants. Integer constants and real constants. The character constants is divided into two subcategories. Single character constant and string constant. So mainly the constants are classified into main two categories: numerical constant and character constant. The numeric constant is divided into two subcategories. One is integer constant and real constant. The character constant is divided into two subcategories. One is single character constant and string constant. Okay, the first one is the integer constant. The integer constant contains whole number. It contains whole number, that is decimal number. It doesn't contain fractional values. The integer constant is once again classified into three different types of integer constant. One is decimal constant. Decimal constant, octal constant and hexadecimal constant. Decimal constant, octal constant and hexadecimal constant. So the decimal constant contains the value range is from, or the numbers from 0 to 9. The decimal constant contains the number range 0 to 9. So the number is example. Okay, is a whole number. 1578 is a whole number. Now it is a decimal constant. So when we are writing the decimal constants, the decimal constant is not allow space in between the numbers and comma and other symbol. Example, now my number is 1578. So 15 space 78. This is not allowed because when we are defining the constant, the space is not allowed in between the numbers. Now 15 and 78, it is not 1578. This is 15 and 78. So space is not allowed. Similarly, 15.70, 15 comma 78, it is not allowed. There is no comma between the numbers. If you specify dot, then this number is not a decimal number, this number is a real number. So when we're defining the constant, an integer constant, space, comma and other symbols are not allowed. Okay, decimal number is a whole number. Next is the octal number. Octal constant. octal constant. This octal constant, the constant consists of the numbers 0 to 7. It consists of the numbers 0 to 7. So the octal number contains only 8 possible numbers. The numbers is 0 and 0 to 7. So one of the important thing when we are defining the octal number and decimal number, so decimal number we can directly write, but when we are writing the octal number, so the number must start with 0. Example, 76. If you write 76, this is not an octal constant, this will be decimal constant. Now if you want to define this as octal constant, then you need to write 0 in front of the number. So the number preceded with 0 is the octal constant or octal number. Without 0, then this number is decimal number. So this is very important. When we are defining the octal constant, the number must start with 0 and the numbers combination must be consist of 0 to 7. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you write 9, it will not allow it to return error message. So otherwise it will consider as a decimal constant. Okay, it is the octal constant. The next constant is the hexadecimal. Hexadecimal constant. The hexadecimal constant consists of 16 numbers. 16 numbers, that is 0 to 9 and A to F. 0 to 9 and A to F. So A to F is 10 to 15. A to F means 10 to 15. So A is 10, B is 11, C is 12, D is 13, E is 14 and F is 15. So here we can use A to F capital or A to F small. So in order to define hexadecimal constant, the number must precede with 0, X or 0 capital X. Example, 0, 0x125 is a hexadecimal number. If in case if you write only 1 to 5, then it will be decimal number. So either you can write X a small letter or X as a capital letter. So example, 0 capital X 2571. Now this number is hexadecimal constant. This constant is hexadecimal constant. So once again, integer constant is a whole number. It doesn't contain the fractional values. The integer constants consist of 3 types. One is decimal constant, octal constant and hexadecimal constant. In decimal constant, the number contains the values from 0 to 9. So the number or digit is 0 to 9. So decimal number we can directly define. Example, 125, 278 is a whole number. When we are defining the integer constant or we are defining the constant, the space, comma and other words, other characters not allowed in between the numbers. Example, 1578, 15 space 78, it will not allow because the space is not allowed between the numbers, or comma is also not allowed. You can use dot operator. So when you write dot operator, then the number is not a integer number, then that will be a real number. So next is the octal constant. The octal number consists of 0 to 7. It contains 8 digits, 8 values, that is 0 to 7. So in order to discriminate decimal constant and octal constant, the octal constant is preceded with 0. So every octal number must start with 0. It consists of combination of 0 to 7. So without 0, then the number is a decimal constant. The last constant is the hexadecimal constant. The hexadecimal constant consists of 16 numbers 0 to 9 and A to F. So we can write A to F as capital or A to F as small letter. So A to F indicates 10 to 15. So in order to define hexadecimal constant, we need to precede the number by 0x. So x may be a small letter or x may be a capital letter. So decimal number, there is no preceding number, preceding character, but octal number is preceded with 0 and hexadecimal number is preceded with 0 and x. 0 and x. Okay. Example, 0x125, 0 capital X 2571. These are the examples for the hexadecimal constants. The next constant is the real constant. So one of the disadvantage of integer constant is the integer constant doesn't contain the fractional values. Means we cannot represent continuous values using integer number. Example, height. Usually height we represent 5.2 inch, 5.5 inch, 5.6 inch. Similarly, weight also represented in the form of fractional value, and distance is also represented in fractional values. So the continuous values cannot be represented by using integer constant. Okay, there is a problem. So to represent continuous values, to represent fractional values, we use one more constant, that is a real constant. Example, the pi value. The pi value consists of fractional value 3.1417. So 3.1417, this number cannot be represented by using integer constant because it contains fractional value. So in order to represent this, we use a real constant. The real constant also represented using exponential values. Example, here 25.1 E2. E2 means, when you represent E2, this indicates 20 pi 0.1 into 10 to the power of 2. If you write E3 is 10 to the power of 3. So the number multiplied with 10 to the power of 3. So this exponential value representation we use when the number range is larger number. The number range is larger number, then we use this exponential representation. So here, when we are defining the integer constant and the real constant, the range of the value is depends upon the compiler. So what type of compiler we are using, based on that or based on the machine, the range will be different. Example, if we are using 16-bit machine, if you are using 16-bit machine, the integer value range, maximum value range is 32,767. Similarly, the float value range is also different. If you are using 32-bit machine, the value range is double. So the value range of integer, number and real constants is depends upon the machine. Either it may be 16-bit machine, 32-bit machine and 64-bit machine. Okay, that is about real constant. So in the integer constant we can represent only whole number, but the real constant contains the fractional values. Example, pi 3.1417. So here 1.147 is a fractional value. This can be represented only the real constant. The next constant is the character constant. The character constant is divided into two categories. One is single character constant and the string constant. The single character constant is defined or represented by using single quote. The character which is enclosed within pair of single quote is called character constant. So here, if you write 5 and 5, here within single quote 5 is different and this 5 is different. This 5 is considered as the ASCII value of 5. It considered ASCII value 5. This is the decimal number. Okay, the string character constant, the character which is enclosed within pair of single quote is called character constant. Similarly, the characters which are enclosed within pair of double quotes is called string constant. String constant within double quote. Example, Mysore. Within double quote, Mysore, the Mysore is a sequence of characters. So this is string constant. The characters which are enclosed within pair of double quote is called string constant. So one thing here we need to observe is within single quote A and within double quote A is different. This is considered as character constant A and this considered as string constant, but the string contains only one character. The string contains only one character. Okay, that is about the character constant. The character constants are divided into two categories, single character constant and string constant. The character which is enclosed within pair of single quote is called character constant. The character sequence which is enclosed within pair of double quote is called string constant. Okay, that is about the constants. The constant means the value will not change during the execution of the program. In C language, the constants are divided into two categories, main categories. One is numerical constant, other one is character constant. Numerical constant is divided into two subcategories. One is integer constant and the real constant. The character constants are divided into two subcategories. One is single character constant and string constant. In integer constant consists of three subtypes. One is decimal constant, octal constant and hexadecimal constant. A decimal consists of the numbers 0 to 9. Octal consists of numbers 0 to 7 and hexadecimal consists of 0 to 9 and A to F. So octal number proceed with 0 and hexadecimal number proceed with 0 and X.